Captain John Miller floated in the command chair of the U.S. Frontier, his eyes fixed on the massive view screen. The strange vessel that had appeared at the edge of Neptune's orbit was unlike anything humans had ever built. It shimmered with an iridescent blue glow and moved without any visible engines. "Status report," he ordered, trying to keep his voice steady. "Still no response to our communications, sir," replied Communications Officer Diane Powell. Her fingers moved rapidly across her console. "I've tried all frequencies and standard greeting protocols." The bridge crew watched in silent tension as the alien ship grew larger on their screen. They were 72 hours from the nearest backup and completely on their own for this unexpected encounter. "Captain, they're scanning us," reported Jack Morris of the sensor station. "Very powerful energy signature. Wait, they're initiating contact." The view screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at an alien face. The creature had pale blue skin, large dark eyes, and what appeared to be gill-like structures on its neck. When it spoke, its mouth moved strangely, but the words came through in perfect English. "Greetings, Earth vessel. I am High Commander Zelthrak of the Kelnari Confederation." Miller straightened his uniform and stepped forward. "I am Captain John Miller of the United Earth Ship Frontier. We welcome you in peace." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "How refreshing to meet a new species so earnest. Your vessel's design is quite charming. Metallic hull materials and chemical propulsion. It brings back memories of our early space exploration, nearly 12,000 years ago." Miller felt his face grow warm, but maintained his diplomatic expression. "We're relatively new to deep space travel, but we're learning quickly." "Indeed," said Zelthrak, his tone similar to how an adult might praise a child's crayon drawing. "We detected your radio signals centuries ago, but didn't expect you to make it this far into your own system so soon. Those engines must be terribly inefficient." Lieutenant Susan Clark, the ship's chief engineer, stood at her station, her hands clenched into fists. She had spent 15 years developing the very engines this alien was mocking. "Our antimatter injection system is quite advanced for our technology level," she said before she could stop herself. The alien commander's eyes widened slightly. "Antimatter? How quaint. We abandoned such volatile energy sources millennia ago. Our ships manipulate the fundamental forces of reality themselves." As if to demonstrate, the alien vessel outside suddenly shifted, not moving through space, but seeming to simply reposition itself instantly to a different location. "We be pleased to establish formal diplomatic relations with Earth," Zelthrak continued. "The Galactic Council always welcomes emerging intelligences. Perhaps we can help guide your development, prevent you from making too many technological missteps." Miller nodded stiffly. "We would welcome cultural exchange." After the communication ended, the bridge remained silent until Clark spoke up. "They're treating us like children," she said, her voice tight with frustration. Miller turned to his crew. "Maybe we are children compared to them, but children grow up." He tapped his communication panel. "Miller to Earth Command. We've made first contact, and you're not going to believe this. Over the next week, more Kelnari ships arrived. They freely demonstrated their incredible technology while examining human systems with barely concealed amusement. They referred to the Frontier's life support as delightfully simplistic and called their warp drives metal coffins powered by explosions." In her quarters, Susan Clark studied every scan and recording of the alien technology. While other crew members were awed by the Kelnari's achievements, she saw something different: technological stagnation hidden beneath their superiority. "They haven't innovated in centuries," she whispered to herself as she reviewed the data. "They've perfected what they know, but they're not looking for new answers anymore." She began sketching a new engine design in her personal notebook, one that didn't follow alien principles at all. "Let them laugh," she said quietly. "They haven't seen what humans can really do." 3 months after first contact, Earth had changed forever. Alien ships now regularly visited the planet, and humans learned they were far from alone in the universe. The Solar System Alliance was formed to represent Earth in the Galactic Council, a group of over 30 alien species who controlled this part of the galaxy. Dr. Frank Rodriguez adjusted his tie nervously as he prepared to present Earth's latest technology at the Council's annual showcase. As Earth's chief science officer, he had the difficult job of displaying human achievements to aliens who found them primitive. Just remember, they might be advanced, but they don't know everything, Susan Clark told him. After her experience on the frontier, she had been promoted to assist with alien relations due to her technical knowledge. Easy for you to say, Rodriguez replied. You didn't watch the Vesperi representative laugh at our medical equipment last month. The showcase hall was filled with amazing alien technology. The Sorens showed off ships that could travel between stars in days. The Kelnari displayed weapons that could disable other ships without harming the crew. Compared to these wonders, the human fusion drive prototype seemed simple. When Rodriguez's turn came, he tried to sound confident. This new engine design uses advanced fusion techniques to create 40% more thrust while using 30% less fuel than our previous models. A murmur ran through the alien audience, not of appreciation, but amusement. Ambassador Nixora of the Vesperi stepped forward, her insect-like features arranged in what humans had learned was their version of a smile. She was tall and thin with 4 arms and compound eyes that reflected the light. How quaint that they still rely on reaction mass, she said loudly to the other aliens, like watching children play with toy rockets. Several aliens made noises that translated as laughter. Rodriguez's face turned red, but he continued his presentation, trying to ignore the comments. After the showcase, worse news came. The Council denied Earth's request for access to advanced medical technology that could cure cancer and other deadly human diseases. We have concerns about humanity's technological readiness, High Commander Zelthrak explained during the Council meeting. Giving you certain technologies would be like giving dangerous tools to a child. President Laura Nelson watched the recorded message in the White House Situation Room, surrounded by her advisors. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes were hard. Play it again, she said quietly. After watching the condescending message a second time, she stood up. I've heard enough. They treat us like we're stupid just because we took a different path than they did. What can we do? Asked her Secretary of Defense. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Not in all ways, President Nelson replied. Susan, tell them about your theory. Susan Clark, now serving as a presidential advisor, opened her tablet computer. The aliens have advanced technology, but they're all using the same basic scientific principles. They've been copying each other for thousands of years. But humans have been working on alternative theories that the aliens never explored. Like what? Asked the Secretary of State. Like Project Prometheus, President Nelson answered. A top-secret research program that's been developing a completely different approach to space travel. She looked around the room at the surprised faces of her cabinet. It's time to stop trying to impress them with technology that follows their rules, she continued. From now on, Project Prometheus will receive full funding and priority status. If they want to treat us like children, fine, but they'll soon learn that human children can be full of surprises. Susan smiled. For months, she had been pushing for more support for the unconventional research project hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains. How long until we can show them what we're really capable of? President Nelson asked. With proper funding and resources, Susan replied, 6 months. Maybe less. Make it happen, the president ordered. It's time to change the rules of the game. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a massive underground facility buzzed with activity. Project Prometheus had existed for nearly a decade, but never with this level of urgency or funding. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, their faces tired but determined. At the center of it all stood Dr. Alan West, a brilliant physicist whose theories had once been considered too radical, even for serious scientific journals. Now his wild ideas were humanity's best hope. The aliens think we're stuck with conventional physics, Dr. West explained to a group of military observers who had just arrived. He was a tall man with messy gray hair and bright eyes that made him look younger than his 60 years. But what they don't realize is that we've been thinking outside their box for decades. He led them into a massive circular chamber. In the center sat a device that looked nothing like traditional engines. Instead of nozzles and combustion chambers, it had a complex arrangement of rings surrounding a central sphere that glowed with a soft purple light. "This is the quantum displacement drive," Dr. West said with pride. "The QDD doesn't push against reaction mass like conventional engines. It doesn't warp space like the Kelnary drives. Instead, it creates a quantum field that lets a ship step sideways through space-time." One of the generals looked confused. "In simple terms, Doctor." Susan Clark stepped forward. After her promotion to the Presidential Advisory Team, she had requested assignment to Project Prometheus. "In simple terms, sir, alien ships push through space like boats through water. Our ship will slip between the molecules of water without making a ripple." "Is it ready?" asked the general. Dr. West shook his head. "Not yet. The theory is sound, but we've had stability issues in testing. The quantum field collapses after just a few seconds." Susan walked around the device, studying it carefully. "May I?" she asked, pointing to a computer terminal. Dr. West nodded, and Susan began typing rapidly. Lines of code scrolled across the screen. "You're trying to maintain a perfect field," she said. "But what if we deliberately create an asymmetrical field that shifts its focus point every millisecond?" Dr. West stared at her, then laughed. "That's exactly the kind of crazy thinking we need. The aliens would never consider such an inelegant solution." "That's our advantage," Susan replied. "They've been using the same principles for so long, they've stopped innovating. They make their existing technology better, but they don't try completely new approaches." Over the next few weeks, Susan and Dr. West became a formidable team. Together with the best minds Earth had to offer, they worked to refine the QDD. What the project lacked in alien technology, it made up for in human creativity and determination. During a test one night, when most of the team had gone to sleep, Susan made a breakthrough. "Look at this," she called to Dr. West, who was still working nearby. "If we pulse the field instead of maintaining it constantly, we can extend the duration significantly." Dr. West studied the results and smiled. "Brilliant. It's like blinking your eyes to prevent fatigue. No alien would design a system this way." "Because it's not perfect," Susan said. "Exactly. It's human. We've always made progress by embracing imperfection and working around it." The two continued working through the night, and by morning, they had extended the field duration from seconds to minutes. As news of their progress spread through the facility, a new energy filled the project. The team no longer felt they were hopelessly trying to catch up to alien technology. Instead, they were creating something entirely new. "The Kelnary think we're just copying them poorly," Dr. West told President Nelson during her visit to the facility. "They have no idea what's coming." "How soon until we can show them?" she asked. Dr. West looked at Susan, who nodded confidently. "We'll be ready for a full test in 1 month," he said. "And if that goes well, we can install the drive on a ship within 2." The president smiled. "Perfect. The Galactic Council won't know what hit them." 8 months into Project Prometheus, success seemed close. The quantum displacement drive had performed perfectly in 3 straight tests. Engineers were already fitting it to Earth's newest ship, the Defiance, built in secret at a hidden facility on the far side of the moon. Susan Clark stood beside Dr. West as they watched workers install the drive into the ship's engine room. The Defiance looked like a standard Earth vessel from the outside, which was exactly what they wanted. Its true power would remain hidden until the right moment. "I never thought we'd get this far so quickly," Dr. West said, his voice filled with pride. "Humans work best under pressure," Susan replied, "and the aliens have provided plenty of that." Their conversation was interrupted by a loud alarm. Red lights flashed throughout the facility. "Security breach," announced a voice over the speakers. "Unknown vessel approaching Earth orbit, matching Kelnari design patterns." Susan and Dr. West rushed to the command center, where screens showed a sleek blue ship moving toward Earth. Unlike the usual diplomatic vessels, this one was smaller and moved with purpose. "It's a scout ship," said General Paul Jones, who oversaw security for the project. "They're scanning specific locations on Earth, including this mountain range." "How did they find us?" Dr. West asked. "The QDD testing must have created energy signatures they detected," Susan suggested. "We didn't think they'd be monitoring us this closely." The scout ship moved lower, directly over the mountains that concealed Project Prometheus. Its scanning beams intensified, probing deep into the rock. "They're trying to see through our shields," General Jones said. "Defensive measures are activating automatically." Before anyone could respond, the facility's automated defense system fired a warning pulse designed to disrupt scanning equipment. The pulse hit the Kelnari ship, causing it to wobble in flight. "Stop that system," Dr. West shouted. "We don't want to start a fight." But it was too late. The Kelnari ship fired back, a blue beam that sliced through the mountain rock like it was butter. Alarms blared even louder as part of the facility lost power. "Get everyone to emergency stations," General Jones ordered, "and contact the president immediately." The Kelnari ship fired again, this time hitting one of the facility's sensor arrays. The humans did not return fire, but activated stronger shields that the aliens couldn't penetrate. After several tense minutes, the scout ship finally retreated to orbit. Everyone in the command center breathed a sigh of relief, but they knew the trouble had just begun. 2 days later, President Nelson stood before the emergency session of the United Nations. Her face was grim as she addressed the representatives of Earth's nations. "The Galactic Council has issued an ultimatum," she announced. "They accuse us of developing illegal weapons technology and demand full inspection of all Earth facilities within 7 days. If we refuse, they will impose sanctions that would end our access to space beyond our solar system." Murmurs filled the chamber as the representatives discussed this threat. "The Kelnari ship violated our sovereignty by entering Earth's atmosphere without permission and scanning restricted areas," President Nelson continued. "We had every right to protect our security. What they detected wasn't a weapon at all, but a new propulsion system." "What are our options?" asked the representative from Kenya. "We could submit to their demands," President Nelson replied. "But that would mean revealing Project Prometheus before it's ready and allowing aliens to dictate what technology we can develop." She paused, then continued with determination in her voice. "I believe we should stand firm. We have the right to develop our own technology without interference. That's why I've proposed an alternative to the Council. A challenge." The room grew quiet as everyone waited to hear more. "Instead of inspections, we propose a space race through the Sirius Nebula. Each species will send their best ship and crew to navigate this dangerous region, demonstrating their technological capabilities. This will prove whether our new drive is a weapon or simply an innovative propulsion system." "And if we lose?" asked another representative. President Nelson smiled slightly. "We won't. The Defiance will be ready in time, and its crew has already been selected." She looked down at her notes. "Captain Richard Hayes will command, with Susan Clark as chief engineer." Dr. West, who sat in the back of the chamber, nodded with approval. The real test of human ingenuity was about to begin. The Sirius Nebula glowed in eerie purple and blue against the blackness of space. Dangerous radiation storms and unpredictable gravitational fields made it one of the most hazardous regions in this part of the galaxy. It was the perfect place to showcase a ship's capabilities and its crew's skills. 12 ships from different alien species hovered at the starting point. Most impressive was the Kelnari vessel, the Stellar Dominance, its sleek hull shimmering with blue energy fields. Beside it, Earth's ship, the Defiance, looked plain and unimpressive with its conventional metal hull. Captain Richard Hayes stood on the bridge of the Defiance, studying the competition on the main screen. He was a calm man with 20 years of spaceflight experience. Nothing seemed to shake his steady nerves, not even being severely outmatched in a contest that would determine Earth's future. "Final system check," he ordered. "All conventional systems functioning normally," reported Kate Simmons, the navigation officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her control panel. Course plotted through the nebula. "QDD is ready but inactive," Susan Clark added from the engineering station. "Power levels optimal." Dr. West, who had insisted on joining the mission to monitor his invention, nodded with satisfaction. "Remember, we show nothing until we reach the first checkpoint." The race rules were simple. Navigate through the nebula, pass 3 checkpoints, and reach the finish line. Ships could use any technology they possessed, but no weapons were allowed. On the Kelnary vessel, High Commander Zelthrak looked toward the Earth ship with amusement. "We'll try not to finish too far ahead of you," he told Hayes during their last communication. "It would be embarrassing for your species." Hayes had simply smiled in response. "We'll see you at the finish line." Now, as the starting signal approached, Zelthrak gave one final message to all participants. "May the most advanced ship win." A brilliant flash of light signaled the start, and the ships launched forward. The Kelnary vessel immediately took the lead, its advanced gravity drives propelling it smoothly ahead. The Sorin ship, piloted by bird-like aliens, followed closely behind. The Defiance maintained a middle position using only its conventional engines. Some alien observers began to lose interest in the human ship, assuming it would fall further behind as the race progressed. "Maintaining position," Kate reported as they moved deeper into the nebula. "First radiation storm approaching in 30 seconds." The storm hit with a fury that rocked even the advanced alien ships. Multicolored energy waves washed over the vessels, straining their shields. 2 ships from less advanced species were forced to slow considerably. "Shields holding at 80%, reported Jack Morris from the Defensive Systems Station. Hayes nodded calmly. "Stay the course." As they passed through the storm, the race leaders pulled further ahead. The Defiance remained steady in 6th place out of 12 ships, which was better than most aliens had expected from human technology. They approached the first checkpoint, a narrow corridor of stable space, through a particularly dense region of the nebula called Carver's Passage. The leading ships began to slow, carefully navigating the dangerous terrain. "All ships ahead are reducing speed," Kate observed. Hayes turned to Susan. "Now." Susan took a deep breath and activated a sequence on her console. "Engaging QDD in 3, 2, 1. There was no dramatic sound, no violent acceleration. The Defiance seemed to hiccup slightly in space, then suddenly shot forward. The movement wasn't the brute push of conventional engines, but a smooth, almost elegant transition. The aliens monitoring the race were stunned. One moment the human ship was in 6th place. The next it was sliding past the Sorin vessel, then the Vesperi ship, then, impossibly, the Kelnary flagship itself. "What is happening?" Zelthrak demanded as he watched the Defiance move past his ship without any visible engine flare. "They can't have mastered full technology already." But it wasn't full technology. As the Defiance moved through Carver's Passage faster than any ship had ever traveled through it before, the aliens realized they were witnessing something entirely new. On the Defiance's bridge, the crew maintained their focus despite their success. "QDD functioning perfectly," Susan reported, her eyes bright with excitement. "Power consumption minimal." "Maintain course," Hayes ordered, allowing himself a small smile. "Let's show them what humans can really do." The Defiance shot through the nebula like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Captain Hayes kept his crew focused as they maintained their surprising lead. "Second checkpoint approaching," Kate announced. "Heavy gravitational disturbances ahead." The second part of the race course twisted through a region where multiple gravity wells created a dangerous maze. Ships had to navigate carefully or risk being pulled off course and crushed by the intense forces. "Status of the other ships?" Hayes asked. Jack checked his sensors. The Kelneri and Soren vessels are trying to catch up. They've increased power to their drives. On board the Stellar Dominance, Zelthrak was no longer amused. His pride was wounded by the human ship's unexpected performance. Maximum power to the gravity drives. He ordered his crew. They must be using some hidden alien technology. No human design could move like that. His science officer looked troubled. Commander, their ship is not leaving any energy wake. It's not pushing against space like our drives do. It's sliding through it somehow. Impossible. Zelthrak snapped. Keep scanning them. Find out how they're doing this. Back on the Defiance, Susan monitored the QDD carefully. Power levels still good, but I'm detecting some instability in the quantum field. Dr. West moved to her station and studied the readings. The gravitational forces are affecting the field coherence. We need to adjust the pulse frequency. Together, they made rapid changes to the drive settings. The ship shuddered briefly, then stabilized. Nice work, Hayes said. How long can we maintain this speed? At least until the finish line, Susan replied. But I recommend reducing power slightly through the gravitational maze. Hayes nodded. Do it. We've made our point. Now we need to finish safely. The Defiance slowed just enough to navigate the gravity wells with precision. This allowed the Kelneri ship to close some of the gap, but the humans remained firmly in the lead. As they approached the final checkpoint, a massive radiation storm erupted directly in their path. Brilliant colors flashed across the viewscreen as deadly energy particles bombarded the ship's shields. Shields down to 40%. Jack called out. The storm is affecting the QDD stability, Susan added. Field coherence dropping. Dr. West worked frantically at his station. We didn't account for this level of radiation. The quantum field is destabilizing. For a moment, it seemed the Defiance would lose its advantage. The ship slowed as the QDD struggled to maintain its field. The Kelneri ship, with its more conventional but powerful drives, began to close the gap rapidly. They're going to catch us, Kate said, concern in her voice. Hayes remained calm. Options, Dr. West. The scientist looked up, his eyes bright with sudden inspiration. The radiation isn't our enemy. It could be our friend. Susan, what if we reconfigured the QDD to incorporate the radiation patterns into the field? Susan's fingers flew across her console, using the storm's energy to strengthen our field. That's brilliant and completely counterintuitive. No one would design a system to work that way. Exactly, Dr. West said. It's a human solution. They quickly made the adjustments. For a tense moment, the ship shuddered violently. Then suddenly, the QDD stabilized, drawing power from the very storm that had threatened to stop them. The Defiance surged forward again, leaving the Kelneri ship behind once more. Zelthrak watched in disbelief as the human vessel disappeared into the storm that his own ship was struggling to navigate. How are they doing this? He demanded. His science officer had no answer. As the Defiance emerged from the final radiation storm, the finish line came into view. A ring of marker buoys placed by the Galactic Council to indicate the race's end. Final approach, Kate announced. No other ships on sensors behind us. Hayes allowed himself a smile. Take us home, Lieutenant. The Defiance crossed the finish line a full 7 minutes before the Kelneri ship emerged from the storm, an eternity in space racing. When the final results were calculated, the human ship had not only finished first, but had used significantly less energy than any competitor. On the Council observation station, the alien representatives watched in stunned silence as the impossible happened. The newest, supposedly least advanced species in the galaxy had just outperformed them all. 2 weeks after the race, Earth's position in the galactic community had changed completely. The Defiance's victory was more than just winning a competition. It had proven that humans had developed an entirely new approach to space travel. Technical observers from various alien species arrived on Earth, not to mock but to learn. The quantum displacement drive represented a breakthrough that even the most advanced civilizations had never considered. In a formal council session, Earth was given a new classification: Technical Innovator Species. Only 5 other races in the entire Galactic Council held this prestigious title. President Nelson stood proudly before the council as they made the announcement official. Captain Hayes and his crew were honored as representatives of human ingenuity. Susan Clark and Dr. West received special recognition for their revolutionary drive design. After the ceremony, High Commander Zelfrak approached the human delegation. His usual arrogance was gone, replaced with a new respect. "We made a serious error in judgment," he admitted to President Nelson. "We assumed you would follow the same technological paths as other species. It never occurred to us that your isolation might lead to creative solutions." Nelson smiled diplomatically. Different challenges often require different approaches. Zelfrak nodded. "The Kelnari have a request. We would like to send some of our engineers to study your QDD technology. In exchange, we offer full access to our medical database, including the treatments you requested earlier." "That seems fair," President Nelson replied. "We're happy to begin a more equal partnership." Meanwhile, at the spaceport, Susan showed a group of alien engineers through the Defiance's engine room. Their questions came rapidly as they tried to understand the principles behind the QDD. "But the field should collapse with these energy fluctuations," said a Vesperi engineer, her 4 hands gesturing at the drive. "How did you stabilize it?" "We didn't," Susan explained. "That's the key. We let it fluctuate in a controlled pattern. The imperfection is actually what makes it work." The alien engineers looked confused. Such an approach went against thousands of years of their technical development, which always sought perfect stability and elegance. "Sometimes being underestimated is the greatest advantage," Susan told them. "You thought we were trying to catch up to you, but we were taking a different road entirely." In the months that followed, Earth became a center for technological exchange. Humans shared their unique approaches in exchange for alien technology. Ships with hybrid designs began to appear, combining the best of both methods. Dr. West headed a new international research center where scientists from Earth and other worlds worked together. The facility's motto, displayed prominently at the entrance, read, "Different questions lead to different answers." 1 year after the race, the first long-range explorer ship equipped with an advanced QDD prepared for its maiden voyage. The ship would travel farther than any human vessel had gone before, with a mixed crew of humans and aliens. Captain Hayes had been offered command, but had chosen to remain with the Defiance. Instead, Susan Clark, now holding the rank of captain, would lead the mission. As she prepared to board, President Nelson presented her with a small metal plaque to be placed on the ship's bridge. "What does it say?" asked Zelfrak, who had come to witness the launch as the Kelnari representative. Nelson smiled and read the simple words aloud. "Never judge a species by its first steps among the stars." Zelfrak nodded thoughtfully. "We have a saying that began circulating after your victory. Watch the humans closely. They never go where you expect." Susan laughed. "That's the highest compliment you could give us." As she boarded the ship that would carry humanity's spirit of innovation to distant stars, Susan thought about how quickly things had changed. From being mocked as primitive newcomers to being respected as valuable partners in just 1 year. The aliens had learned an important lesson. Technological advancement didn't always follow a single path, and humanity had learned something too. Sometimes being different was their greatest strength.